Stefon Diggs is a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he finally just returned back to practice after his cryptic messages earlier this week. These outbursts from Diggs appeared to have started around the divisional round of the playoffs against the Bengals, and it looked like it was just going to be a one-off situation, but actually it ended up starting out way earlier than that. In the 2022 season, the Bills were easily cruising through the first 10 weeks of the season, but that was until Josh Allen suffered an injury to his elbow. From there, Stefon Diggs started to show signs that there was trouble on the field. Here, the coach can be seen talking to Stefon Diggs and giving him his reassurance that everything is going to be all right. After the game, Stefon Diggs and Sean McDermott were both asked about their weird antics on the sideline. Nobody knew what was going on. It was the first time anyone had even seen any discourse within the team. But when asked, Stefon Diggs said, "I'm a very charismatic, high-energy guy. He knows that sometimes I just need to take a breath. I always expect excellence from myself, and I always want to be dominant. And I feel like if I'm not being dominant, I'm not doing my job." This seemed like it was just going to be a weird one-off situation with Stefon Diggs, his team, and the coaches. But it didn't end there. 2 weeks later, against the Bears, Stefon Diggs was seen struggling again, and yet again throwing another fit. At this point, it seemed like the media kind of threw everything under the rug and was just going to ignore the whole situation. From the Browns game and on, their last 7 games of the season, Stefon Diggs really struggled as a player. He only had 1 game with over 100 yards receiving, and that was the last game against the Patriots. This is not what you expected from a great quarterback in Josh Allen and a great wide receiver in Stefon Diggs. But immediately, the connection in the playoffs seemed like it was back. Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs had a great game in the first round of the playoffs against the Dolphins. Stefon Diggs was targeted 9 times for 114 yards, and they were on their way to the Bengals. And this is where everything got bad. Stefon Diggs ended that game against the Bengals, getting targeted 10 times, and he only caught 4 of the passes for 35 yards, and their measly 10 points that they scored. Stefon Diggs was then seen yelling at his quarterback, throwing his arms in the air, throwing a huge fit, and making this personal. He then left the stadium. Nobody knew what was going on, but everyone kind of just threw it under the rug. And that was until we got to the Super Bowl. At the Super Bowl, Stefon Diggs had a sponsorship with Downey, and there he had to do many interviews, whether he wanted to or not, to promote this product. But here we got some really good info into what was going on with the Bills, or with him and the Bills. And here are some things that he was asked on the Rich Eisen show. What do you make of your season? And that's when Stefon Diggs responded with,
"Of course, like, I want to give you the storybook or the political. That sounds great to say, like, yeah, we gave it everything we got. We fell short and da-da-da-da, but it is disappointing. It is very off-putting. It's such a delicate season this year with everything that took place, and the adversity we had to battle, and it felt like the world was pulling for us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And in a way, we kind of let them down."
From this statement, you can feel the anger in Stefon Diggs. He felt like they should have been in the Super Bowl, and they should have been the ones playing against the Eagles. Nobody knew who he was mad at, and everybody kind of forgot it again once the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and that's who we talk about. But at the start of mandatory training camp, Stefon Diggs would show up, do his physical, and leave. The next day, he'd show up, talk to the coaches, maybe talk to Josh Allen, and then leave again. This doesn't seem normal. Something seemed like it was off still. And this is months later. Now we're 4 months later, we're in the middle of June, and he's still throwing a fit. Something seemed wrong. Where is this all coming from? Well, many people started to speculate and say that Stefon Diggs was mad because the Bills were trying to improve their offense and get DeAndre Hopkins. However, I don't think that this is the case. He wanted a good wide receiver with him. I think he feels trapped there. The Bills do not have a good run game, and they only have one good wide receiver, and that's Stefon Diggs. They have Gabe Davis, and he's good, but he's not game-changing. He doesn't do what Stefon Diggs can do. Stefon Diggs needs another guy that can help him. There's a reason that he got 10 targets and was only able to catch 4. It's easy to just lock down one wide receiver, then lock down a whole team. If you can't run the ball and you don't have good wide receivers, then you aren't going to win the game. And I think that it frustrated Stefon Diggs that they did not push hard enough for DeAndre Hopkins. But the problem is they just don't have the budget. But he wants to get somebody who can help him and move this offense along. They are this close to being in the Super Bowl. They still have their core team, and they are still there in 2023. And the reason that I think Stefon Diggs wants DeAndre Hopkins so badly is because at the beginning of the 2022 season, when he was asked about getting Odell on the team, he said, "We have a lot of talent on this offense, but as a team, you're always thinking about adding the right people, and he definitely fits that mold. If he comes, that would be great, but if he doesn't, it's okay. It won't be the end of the world." Now, when I heard that, I'm like, that seems kind of normal, but then you're like, the end of the world, that's kind of extreme, right? Obviously, he's showing that yes, he did want Odell. He wants that second guy that can help him. Their offense needs help. He knows that. He sees it. There's a reason that Josh Allen has been throwing the most picks, second most picks, behind Dak Prescott in the last 8 weeks of the season. It's because they have no weapons. But even with all this information, who do you think he's mad at? I don't think he's mad at the head coach, Sean McDermott. I think he's built something great there and he knows that. And I don't think he's mad at Josh Allen. I think he's mad at the play caller, Ken Dorsey. And the reason, I think it's the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, who's causing all these problems between the team and him, is because Stefon Diggs had his worst stretch as a player in the NFL during the last 7 weeks of this season. Then, when the team needed him most in the playoffs, he wasn't even targeted. And you could see the anger in Stefon Diggs on the sideline. Sadly, he took that out on Josh Allen, but I don't think he means to give that to Josh Allen. I think he wants support from the team to get rid of their offensive coordinator, or to get something to change, or to get help, or something. This is the reason in interviews we always see Sean McDermott and Josh Allen talking great about Stefon Diggs. They know that he's not mad at them. They know that he's mad at Ken Dorsey, and they know that he wants something to change. Now, that's not going to happen yet because they built such a great thing there. But if something doesn't happen good this year, then things are going to have to change, and Ken Dorsey may be the first to go.
Vikings at their own 39. It's third down. 3 receivers right, Thielen left. Marshawn Lattimore 12 yards from Adam. Case on a deep drop. Steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay